So how do you think the team can play in relation to things that maybe they haven't been doing? Like what's an actual step or tangible improvement that you think is capable of achieving here?
Well, I think all teams have to play better defensively. I think, I thought last night, I'm not making a decision on one game, but you're down 2-0, and I thought Mike Smith really kept us in the game, and then I thought we played a great second period. I just think it's a gut feel. I've been around the National Hockey League and around teams a long time, and I just felt that I needed to make at the end of the day, I built the team. I take full responsibility where we're at. Certainly Jim and Tip lost their job today, but there's a general manager and all the people that I hire that have come to this today. So it's like I said, it's a tough day. So I think it's a gut feel that I needed to make a change.
What qualities do you see in Jay Woodcroft that make you think he can step right into this situation and off and running?
Well, he started out in the National Hockey League as a video coach, so they watched tons and tons of video. So I think he's, Keith Gretzky's down there every day with Bakersfield. Jay is very detailed. His teams play very detailed. He brings a lot of passion and energy to the rink. I like that he's paid his dues. He was a video coach, and then he went with Todd McClellan to San Jose. He went on the bench. He was an assistant coach. Then he obviously came here with Todd, and then he went down to Bakersfield, and they won the Pacific Division Championship last year. They started out 0-5. It was a shortened 40-game season, and looked like the team was a little bit on the rocks, and he got it together, and they won the Pacific Division Championship in a pandemic year. This year, I think I looked the other day, I haven't looked, I think they were 6th overall in winning percentage in the American Hockey League the other day. We got a team of lots of young defensemen. Went to the final, second round, 18, 19. So, he's been down there for 4 years. Again, I think he's detailed, energy, passion. He's been on a bench in the National Hockey League as an assistant coach. He's been in the room in all those meetings since 2005. He's now ran his own bench for 4 years. And I think he's had a lot of success and I watch Bakersfield a lot on the computer and get there occasionally live, but I watched lots of their games, and he does I like the way the team plays down there. They're very detailed, and that's what I would expect that he was going to bring up here.
Ken, there's been a lot of wild swings with the team this year, obviously starting 16-5 and then a 6-game losing streak and a 7-game losing streak. How much of this reflects on the coach, Dave Tippett, and the leaders on this team? Are they both responsible for this? Well,
I think I put me in that group, Jim. I think, I built the team. I think that obviously it's probably why we're here today, right? The wild swings, you want to play consistently, and we probably, I think if I had the answer or anybody had the answer, we wouldn't be having those wild swings. I think there's things involved in that. Everybody's had injuries, but I think there was a stretch there when anything that could go wrong did go wrong. But I think that that's obviously part of the reason why I made the move today.
You mentioned a month ago, too, there had been too many coaches here. You wanted some stability. So what changed from January 11th till February 10th?
I would say that a little more sense of urgency. There's 38 games. Probably when we talked last, there was maybe 45 or 50 games to go. I think it was in early January, sometime. I think, we've put out a healthy roster here recently, and certainly the last couple of nights have been tough. I hope that we come out of the break, we'd hit the ground running. 2 losses. Again, it's just a gut feel. It's the first time I've ever done this in my career. I've always been able to get through the year, and I haven't really. Scotty Bowman retired. Mike Babcock decided to leave, and probably I let Dave Lewis go for Mike Babcock. But first time in my career I've let a coach go in the mid-season. It's basically, I would say to you, it's a gut feel.
Thank you.
Ken, I wonder your vision of the identity of this team. Like, if you were to describe the way this group should be playing at even strength, to say this is the way this team is built and it should play. And has there been a lack of that this season that you think, a new voice might be able to pull out of it?
The identity, I guess, I go to the off season, I would say to you, we wanted to get more forecheck and we wanted to get more to the blue paint. So, we went out and signed Zach Hyman. I made the deal for Fogle. There were 2 guys that analytically they were net drivers last year in the National Hockey League top 5 or top 10. So, we're trying to get more cycles, spend more time in the ozone. Certainly wanted to bring in more leadership into the locker room. Got a veteran Duncan Keith, a veteran Cody Ceci. So, how do we want to play? I think like all teams got to play. You want to spend time in the ozone. You want to cycle. You want to be you got to be able to move the puck from the back end up to the forwards. You need puck movers. You got to play hard on the offense. You got to play hard when you don't have the puck, and we probably haven't done that enough consistently.
Yeah, and feel free to disagree with me. Like, it would seem that your team, night in, night out, is not a difficult team to play against, that you become a team that's on the easier side to play against, and the starts, consistently getting scored on first and not finding your game early enough. How big a factor do those characteristics play into a decision like this, and can you change that with a different head coach, or is that about the guys in the room figuring that part out?
I think if you don't play hard, you don't be in the NHL. I think everybody plays hard. I think the NHL, games are decided on moments, mistakes. And then certainly there's the heaviness, and you want to wear teams down. Like I said to you, we're trying to get heavier, but I don't know that you get heavier over a summertime. It's you got to build, you got to draft, you make trades, you make moves, that was my experience in Detroit. Like, people think about the cups, like there was about the 6 or 7 or 8 years before that, it was trial and error and bringing in people, and then people go out and making changes, making moves, and players on your team getting into those situations and playing in playoff games and realizing that some of those players, they can play harder. They got to play harder. They know they can play harder, and they do play harder. The NHL is a pool of 750 people, and it's not like there's a pool of players that you can bring into this pool that are better than them. So a lot of it is learning. It's being in those situations. It's trial and error. So we thought, people thought in the off season we tried to change, get a little deeper up front, get a little bit bigger. Move the puck. Obviously, we lost. Larson left. We signed Cody Ceci, someone to play safe, play steady, and as Jim had said here, it's been up and down like a toilet seat. Really, there's stretches where we play pretty good, and then we don't play good, and feels to me, and again, I don't know about a coaching change. After December 1st, I think we beat Pittsburgh. I think in the last 20 or 23 games, have we scored the first goal like 3 times? It feels, and now the 1-0s have been coming 2-0. It sort of feels like you're chasing the game. We've been chasing the game for like 2 months. So I can't tell you it's coaching. Obviously I'm here. I changed the coach. But again, I built the team, so if the team's not good enough, that's on me. But certainly, as we're sitting here today, I felt that I needed to do something to see if we could get a different result and a better result. Now we watch.
Hey, Ken. Just a thought on Jay Woodcroft. Was he always part of kind of the succession plan here with Dave being in the last year of his contract, or is this something that you thought, okay, let's give him 40 games to see what he can do, and are you going to hire a new coach next year?
Well, you know, my hope was 3 months ago I was going to be signing Dave Tippett to an extension, that we were going to make the playoffs and we were going to go on a playoff run, and you know, Jay would develop into an NHL coach, and if not here, an opportunity elsewhere. So, you know, I think that certainly having Jay in the organization for today has been a good thing. But I also think he and Dave Manson and the staff down there have done a good job in developing, you know, young players into NHL players. You know, Bouchard, Ethan Bear, McLeod, Skinner, Caleb Jones. I know there's Yamamoto, and there's more. You know, the young defensemen are playing good down there. So I don't know that in the NHL you can tuck when you've got talented people. At some period, they either become a head coach for you or they leave and they go elsewhere. So Jay was really, in my mind, in the process of developing into a player, a person that was going to be a candidate to coach an NHL team. Happens to be today's the day. So, you know, basically I told Jay he's the head coach for the rest of the year. And at the end of the year, we'll sit down and we'll see what happens over here the last 38 games.
Now, I know there's always two parts to this. You let one guy go and you have to bring in another guy. And was Mike Babcock ever a consideration of, you know, you guys are obviously close, you've worked together before, of him coming in here and trying to help you right the ship here?
No, I mean, the two people I considered was, did I stay in, you know, Glenn Gullickson, you know, is coached in the NHL, or Dallas, and he's on our staff, you know, so in my mind it was, you know, do I stay internally and stay with Gully, or, you know, I got a young guy that's doing a tremendous job in Bakersfield. You know, I hired Jeff Blashill in Detroit, did kind of the similar situation, you know, good success at the American League level, and what is he, the second or third or fourth longest tenured coach in the National Hockey League now, you know, overseeing a rebuild, and does a great job. So I just, you know, my gut instincts are that that Jay's ready, that he has done you know, he's been through a journey, you know, from Michigan State to Detroit to San Jose to Edmonton to Bakersfield, that he's ready to be behind the bench in the National Hockey League.
And last one for me, I know a lot of people were talking about your goaltending hasn't worked out as hope with Mike Smith getting hurt, and Mikko, you know, he plays well, but then he struggles, and then Stuart Skinner coming in here. Are you still considering, or had you ever considered bringing someone else in and saying, well, let's fix this goaltending issue that we have and kind of go from there?
You know, most teams have issues, and you got to, I think when both guys are healthy, you know, 2 years, you know, I look at our goal, when both guys are healthy, we get good goaltending. Unfortunately, this year it's been, you know, Smitty was here for a couple of games and Smitty's out, and then we got to run out Mikko, you know, we got to overplay Mikko, and then, you know, now Smitty comes back, now Mikko's got COVID, and can't really take him to California, because if we take him to California next week, he can't get back into Canada because of the quarantine period. So, you know, he's out for 5 games. So it's been, I just think it was designed so that they would both play kind of 50-50, and we haven't really had that the entire season. So I think that we've put undue strain on our goaltenders because of these circumstances.
Thanks, Ken.
Ken, you talked about doing some soul searching last night, not sleeping well. Is there a point over these last 2 games where you kind of came to the realization that this is change has got to be made? Was there something specific in either of these last two games where you said, okay, things have got to change?
Well, it was probably, we'd come out of that 2-11-2. We went 5-0-1. We went into the All-Star break. Everybody had a break, and we've got 3 home games this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I thought it was important that we kind of build on that 5-0-1 start. If we can get win 3 home games or win a couple of home games this week, and kind of get ourselves jump-started, because we're going to play 40 games at 81 nights. Probably, I guess, last night during the game, we'd lost against Vegas and just had a great second period, and kind of hoping that we would make a rally in the third when we didn't. Like I said, probably as the third period wound down, and as I went home and I was by myself and kind of talked to a couple people last night, and got up this morning and called Mr. Cates, and I just felt that I needed to make a change.
Can I ask this because of your track record of not firing coaches, and just a month ago saying you didn't want to, but was this decision yours solely, or were you pushed in any way by ownership to make this?
My decision. Obviously I talked to ownership. I talked, Bob Nicholson's around a lot, but ultimately I have the final decision, so I made the final decision.
And when you talk about, this is the team you built and right now it's not good enough, how do you want to augment this team? What can you do at this point of the year to make this team a better team?
I'm hoping today's going to have an impact. I'm hoping that we can get Mikko back next week, and we can start to have Mikko and Smitty, share the net and kind of feed off of one another. I think we've got some people that can play better, that I think believe they can play better than what they've played. So I think the combination, and then if you start to win, you start to get some confidence and some swagger. We've lost our confidence, we've lost our swagger. Not looking that we score the first goal every night, but you'd like to play with the lead a little bit more often. Can we score the first goal a little bit more often? I'm not sure. So, obviously, when we went out, we signed Evander Kane last week, and Smitty came off of LTI. We've made some roster moves to pare money down. We're in a cap world, so we're dollar in, dollar out. So it's not like we're going to just add players. If we want to add $2 million, we got to move $2 million. And I think probably 20 to 25 teams in the league are in a similar boat. So we'll see it. It looks like Cassian's got a fractured jaw. He's probably out 4 to 8 weeks. Duncan Keith, I was just in there talking to Duncan. He's in concussion protocol, but he's also got some upper body banging, so he's probably out 2 to 4 weeks. So, we'll see. There's going to be we're going to call Nima lining up, maybe call up another young defenseman. We'll see. But I guess I would say to you, the solution probably has to be in the room at this stage of the game.
And lastly for me, I just wonder if there's kind of like a threshold that you have in terms of your evaluation of Jay Woodcroft for this season, in terms of maybe bringing him back for next season. Is it, you have to win a round, you have to get to the playoffs. Is there any kind of wins and losses perspective that you're going to evaluate Jay on?
Not today. I'll wait 38 games and plus playoffs, and then we'll see where I'm at.
Ken, when you look at just style of how your team plays, you've been giving up way too many chances off the rush. So how much of that is a coaching system? Did you talk to Jay? Like, are we going to see changes maybe in how you attack in the neutral zone, and then conversely with Dave Manson, how you defend around the net?
I've watched a lot of Bakersfield games, so I know how Bakersfield, this is the NHL, that's the American League. So it's,
Yeah.
they're similar, but they're two different animals. But certainly when you do things and have success, there's certain things that he believes in that I think no matter what hockey play, what level, are going to be important. And he's attention to again, I'm not saying that, sometimes you just need a different voice. Not saying that Dave Tippett didn't do attention to detail. I think Reed asked me about what things does he do. So I think sometimes it's a different voice, sometimes it's a change, sometimes, certainly, I talked to 3 or 4 or 5 of our players this morning, talked to Connor, talked to Leon, I talked to Darnell, shortly after I made the decision, and I informed Tip and Jim Playfair, and I think I feel incredible responsibility today. They're good people, they're good hockey people, and I don't like to have press conferences in January or February letting people go when there's half the season to go. So, certainly part of the decision today is decisions that I've made, but we've got 38 games to try to make it right, and I just felt that I needed to make a change to try to get some different results.
You talk about a different voice, and sometimes that can just be the difference for players. When you look at it and you feel like when guys like Draisaitl and McDavid have set such a high standard for the last few years, for them, their offensive production for 2 months is well below what they've been used to for 3.5 years. And Darnell Nurse's defensive zone coverage probably below the standards that he's set the last few seasons. Is this arguably a good time for a new coach because there's a chance your best players will get back to the level they played at before?
Yeah. Great question.
But
no, I mean, obviously, Tip did that. Tip and Jim Playfair did it. They came here in year one and the 72-game season, and, they'd taken a team that had been 28th overall to 12th overall. And unfortunately, the pandemic, we got better in lots of areas. We got, in many areas, we got better. Special teams, I think the team was near the last. They'd taken the team to, second in the penalty kill that first year? Was it first and second? And then backed it up last year with 9th in penalty kill. So Dave Tippett and Jim Playfair they've done that. What you're talking about, they did that under their watch to help, in my mind, basically, pandemic, we were going to make the playoffs in 1920, and then last year in a 56-game Canadian division, we finished second, and we did that. We were second in penalty killing 2 years ago, or 9th last year. This year we're in the 20s. So, sometimes you just, like you said, my instincts. It's not like I've done this a bunch of times. It's the first time I've ever done it, and I've been a manager for 25 years. So, I just felt that I needed to make a change, that we can play better. The team, the previous 2 seasons, has played very, very well under Tip and Jim Playfair, Glenn Gullickson. We were 2-11-2. I sat here and I said, I don't like making coaching changes mid-season, and I don't. And I believe that we were given a lot of adversity that our team was playing. We given up the first goal. I think I got on through, and we were battling. We were losing lots of games in the last 10 minutes of the third period, and then we went in the 5-0-1 run, and we went into the break, and I kind of felt that we'd hit the ground running, that we'd maybe turned the corner, and we were on the upswing. And when we lose the first 2 home games, coming out of the break, and I thought we were loose last night and give up a lot of scoring chances, and I just felt that, like I said, I went home last night, and probably in the third period, as the last 10 minutes, or once they scored to make it 3 and 4 as the game was winding down, I just felt that leaving the rink. I spent a lot of time here. I was talking to Tip, and I was just, and Keith Gretzky was here, and Bill Scott, and coaches, and was here for an hour and a half, 2 hours after the game, and then I went home and just spent a lot of time by myself, and then I talked to Bob Nicholson late last night and Daryl Cates this morning, and just decided to make this decision.
One last one for me. You mentioned the amount of chances you gave up last night. The one area that pre-Tippett, during Tippett, that hasn't really improved on the team is 5-on-5 goals against. And when you look at successful teams, if you can't lower that number, it's hard to win. So how much of that is on the players? How much of that is going to be on Manson and Woodcroft to try to solve? Because it's been an issue for a while.
No, I mean, Jason, you're dead on. I mean, you got to keep the puck out of your net, and we have to figure out a way to. Can't win 5-4. You know, we won lots of games. I think the first 16-5. I think we were scoring 5 goals to win. So certainly you got to keep. Not sure where Bakersfield is in the goals against, but I watch them. Their goals against is plummeting. They're playing good. So hopefully a different voice. We're all saying the same message. Like, the game's played the same way today. There's different terminology, but at the end of the day, you got to defend hard. You got to keep the puck out of your net. You got to be good defensively. You got to go to the blue paint. You got to score ugly goals. You got to have good special teams. And to be somebody here sitting here 20 years from now telling you there'll be different verbiage and different terms, but the game is played on the same 80-by-200, and it's hockey. So, you know, sometimes you just need to have sometimes there's just got to be a different voice, and certainly there's tweaks, and you got to do some little different things and some neutral zone coverage, and you're going to do some things differently. But certainly what you're saying is we got to keep the puck out of our net. I mean, it's, you know, and you're giving up when you give up 3, 4, 5 every night. It's tough to sustain any kind of winning.
Ken, you mentioned talking to your leaders. I wonder if you can tell us a little bit of what their reaction was like, if they were surprised, or sometimes players can feel something coming. What was your kind of assessment of it?
Well, I'm sure you'll talk to them tomorrow. Some of them will in the next day or two, so I'll let them tell you what they were thinking, Gene. I just wanted them to hear it from me, so they'll tell you their thoughts.
And as a follow-up, you speak to some today, but it's an off day. Would you, as a GM, sort of address the team tomorrow as a group, or is that something you'll?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, basically, they're flying in tonight, Dave and Jay, and I think either here or over there tonight at 9 or 9:30, you're going to get together with all the rest of the coaching staff, and then tomorrow morning we'll come over, and obviously it's game day. I mean, I'll talk for 2-3 minutes to the team, and then I'm sure, you know, and then Jay will go about his things, and then we got to go through our game day preparation. It's a big 2 points tomorrow night. So, you know, if it was an off day, maybe I'd talk longer, but, you know, got to get focused on the Islanders.
Dave, who's coaching Bakersfield now?
I think Colin Chalk. Colin hasn't been with the Colin's left for personal reasons. I think he's he's flying back tomorrow. He's been, I think, in Ontario. Keith is flying. Keith was here the last few days, which you saw. He's flying down tonight.
Was there any thought of sending one of your assistant coaches down to coach the farm team?
No. All these people, we need all these people here. They all have an important role. So certainly, you know, that was one of the things when I talked to Keith and, you know, Mr. Cates and Bob Nicholson, and told him I was bringing up, you know, obviously those two guys are really important in the success down there, but you know, this is the most important team, the Oilers, and certainly Keith does a good job. He'll and try to find somebody to come in there and pitch in with Colin Chalk.
Is there any thought to some of your veterans who've been here for a long time? There's been so many different voices here as coaches. How many, like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, how many coaches can you have where, you know, it's another coach every couple of years? Is there any thought to that, you know, for Connor, for Leon? Is that a problem?
A lot of thought to that. I mean, that's why I was there a month ago and said I didn't want to change coaches. That's why when I at my introductory press conference, I believe in stability, but, you know, again, at the end of the day, I can't just, it's just a gut feel. I just felt that, you've heard, I just felt that I need to make a change, but certainly I understand there's been multiple coaches for Ryan, been multiple coaches. I think, is this the 8th coach in 11 years or 12 years?
Too many.
Yeah, so, you know, I think, Jim, I think when Keith Gretzky and, you know, I think, I'm going to jump around, you know, I think Tyler Wright and his scouts, you know, Broberg, and we got a Petrov in the 6th round, and Savoy in the 4th round, and, you know, Bourgault and Holloway, and we got to start drafting, you know, as we sit here today, you know, if we go to the Stanley Cup Finals, we got our 1st and 3rd round picks. If we don't go to the Stanley Cup Finals, we got our 1st and 2nd round picks. And you got to draft and you got to develop. And then, you know, Bakersfield, Keith Gretzky, and those guys have done a good job down there in building a foundation. Keith signed really good veterans down there in Malone and Cracknell and Griffith and Marody and Esposito, and so there's good leadership down there, and there's young players down there, and so when all that's got to happen, then you get your stability up here, you know. So we're working away on it, but it doesn't happen in 6 months or 12 months. So, you know, today's a tough day. Today's a tough day for me for a whole lot of reasons. You know, you're letting people go that have passion, that have worked hard, that are good hockey people, that care, and we've had good success under them up until probably 20 games ago, until the 1st of December. And I was trying to bring that stability, and you know, and we've been talking about it behind the scenes on things that we'd like to do to make the organization deeper, better, so today is about my instincts, my experience, telling me that there's 38 games to go. We still control our own fate. There's big games ahead, like tomorrow night, and then next week we've got divisional games, 3 in a row against California teams, San Jose, LA, Anaheim. That if I waited 10 more games and we kept going, it might be too late. So I'm hoping and believing that by what I did today is going to have an impact, a positive impact, to get us to turn the corner. But certainly what you're saying, I'm a big believer in. I mean, I was in Detroit for 22 years as a manager. What, I have 4 coaches, you know, one retired. So I think that the teams that are good year after year, they have that stability that you're talking about, and they have this so that's certainly what we're striving to do. And like I said to somebody here, I was hoping 2 months ago I was going to be working on a contract extension for Tip, you know, in the next couple of months, and so it's a tough day. It's a disappointing day for Oiler fans. You know, when you have this press conference, it means your team's not playing good enough. It means your team's not playing up to expectations, and that's on me. And it's a disappointing day.
One last question about Jay, and you had a gut feel, obviously, that Jeff Blashill could coach in the NHL. He's your farm team coach.
Yep.
You have the same gut feel that Jake Woodcroft might be Jeff Blashill.
I do. I did. You know, he's got passion, got energy, paid his dues. He's been in a room with top hockey people. You know, good coaches in the National Hockey League. He's ran his own bench. Because he was a video, you know, start out in video, they're watching every little thing, and they got to bring things to the coaches. He watches details. So I think for all those reasons, I think he's an NHL coach.
Ken,
the last 35 minutes, I've been listening to someone who, it sounds like, has had trouble coming to this decision. And you've been in a life where you've done nothing but make these type of decisions. Why do you think this one is really sticking with you and that you're wrestling with it even in the last 30 minutes? It seems like you're still, coming to grips.
I'm comfortable with the decision.
Yeah,
I'm
just
not,
why difficult?
tough day. It's a tough day. When when I texted Tip this morning at, 8:15, 7:30, I'm at the office. I'd like to, think when he gets the text, he knows what the text, I think he knows what the text means. You build relationships, like I didn't really know Tip before I hired him. He'd been around the league, say hello, but when you work with somebody every day, you build relationships. So, I believe that I guess I want it to come out that it's a tough day. It's a tough day for Oiler fans. We're not winning. We're not meeting expectations. When I came here, I disappointing when you lose out to Winnipeg in a sweep, but you want to believe your team's headed in the right direction, and you want to believe that you're growing the team, and that you're building, and you're building building blocks, and I think that for 2 years and 20 games, we were doing that, and then the last 20 games, we haven't done that. So for me, it's a tough day for the fans. It's a tough day for the people in there when you're in there, and you're in there today, and then in comes Tip comes, met with Tip, and then I went into Jim Playfair's office, and I hadn't made the decision after the game last night, so it's had a bit of it's a funeral feeling, like everybody's down, like they're massively down, and they've worked together closely for 3 years, and then they're saying goodbyes, and then Tip's leaving, and they're cleaning out their office, and it's a tough day, So am I comfortable decision? Yeah, I'm comfortable decision. Did I make the decision? Yeah, I made the final decision. Did I talk to people? Yeah. I've been thinking about it. When we were 2-11-2, it was here. I kept believing that we were going to get it turned around, and we did. We got it 5-0-1, and we were starting to go. And then I looked at the schedule, and it's 40 games and 80 nights, and it's every second night, and it's 3 home games to start. Let's get off to a good start to start the second half. And then, like I said to you, the last 10 minutes of the third period last night, as I was sitting there talking I just came to the conclusion overnight this morning that what I did. So, I don't take these decisions lightly. These are real people's lives. These are people that care. They're lifelong hockey people, and they've helped for the previous 2 years. I think we've accomplished some good things. We were making good progress. So today was a tough day.